jalla hey, hiding hala hala hiding, hiding hala hala hiding, wa jalala eh ha. Aku didengar haring bola hembut, abadala diding hembut, abadala diding. Aku didengar haring bot, aku didengar haring bola hembut, abadala diding hembut, abadala diding.
Morning, everybody. Salamat Pagi and Namaskar. Thank you for all the participants who've joined us today. And what a great beginning we've had. I think with a beautiful performance, we are all energized and ready for today's session. Our heading for today, as we have mentioned, coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So it's all about being together. We all have been suffering and going through this pain of the pandemic, but it's a great thing that all of us have been together. We are looking forward to a new normal, a new opening, and to take our lives forward beyond and leave the pandemic beyond us and forget about it in times to come. So today here we are to discuss and update on what we as a destination have been doing, what we have been up to, and how we are getting ready and start the ground running when we open the international borders for travelers from around the world and India. So today we have a distinguished panel with us. We have from the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia, Mr. Sigit Witjaksono. Mr. Witjaksono has also a doctorate degree from the University of Nagoya, Japan, on international cooperation studies. Mr. Sigit, since 2018, has been with the Indian market, currently as an acting director for tourism marketing region 3, Europe, Middle East, Asia, and Africa. Mr. Sigit has a vast experience of Indian market and has been to India, and I'm sure a lot of you would have met Mr. Sigit in our various events across India. So since 2018, Mr. Sigit is Director of Tourism Promotion for Middle East, South and Central Asia region for Ministry of Tourism, and from February till now, current as Director of Tourism Marketing for East, South and Central Asia region, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, which includes India. Our next speaker is Mr. Ferdy Piay from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Director of South and Central Asian Affairs. Again, we have another panelist who has a doctorate from Australia, and from 2008 to 2012, Second Secretary of Political Affairs and Secretary to Social Information Function of the Embassy of Republic of Indonesia from The Hague. From 2012 to 2016, Head of Sub-Directorate 4, Director of Incubation and Inter-Regional Cooperation of South Pacific and Africa. February to November in 2016, Mr. Ferdy, Councillor and Minister Councillor, Political Function of Embassy of Republic of Indonesia, Canberra. So Mr. Ferdy has a varied experience from Europe to Asia Pacific, and from July recent appointment, Mr. Ferdy is the Deputy Ambassador of Indonesia to India. Our panelists from hospitality industry are Mr. Abdul Wahab, General Manager of Bintan Resorts Development. Mr. Wahab is a professional into hospitality since 1996, joined a government-linked company, part of the Temasek Holding Singapore, government investment, and posted to Bintan Resort, and he was key person in opening up of the Nirvana Gardens, and he held the post of Estate Manager, Director of Operations and General Manager at Nirvana Garden Resorts. From 2014 to current, Mr. Wahab is moved to Bintan Resorts as a Group General Manager to manage the daily operations and marketing as well as management of Bintan Resorts. Our next professional from the hospitality industry is Mr. Andy Fong from Batam Beach View Resort. As Mr. Fong has 29 years of rich experience into hospitality, pioneering experience, and year-on-year success in achieving business growth objectives in well-established organization, currently associated with 23 Love Lane, Penang, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Georgetown, and as General Manager. And he's also recognized and received a medal from Excellency Governor of Penang, Malaysia. So welcome, a warm welcome to all our panelists, and again, a warm welcome to all our attendees. I am Sanjay Sondi. I am associated with Indonesia since 2005 and appointed as Veto since 2008. A very warm welcome once again. And we start today's session. And may I invite Mr. Sigit for his opening remarks. Mr. Sigit, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Sanjay. Namaskar, very good morning to all of you. Welcome to join our second series of webinar. For today's session, is for India market. As already mentioned by Pak Sanjay, that we have numerous speakers with us. We are delighted to have Mr. Ferdy, Pak Ferdy from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as we have Pak Wahab from Bintan, and then later on also Pak Andy Fong from Batam. So this is actually part of the effort of our Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy to reconnect with the market, because we like to also to update destination. So for today's session, we will have a sharing from those two destinations, Batam and Bintan. And once again, on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, we thank you very much and I appreciate to all of you from industry in India and surrounding that have spare time with us for today's session. I would like herewith to share a little bit for you to update. Please, next slide. 3 things that I would like to share with you. Of course, since we are in the pandemic situation, I would like to give you update on COVID-19 in Indonesia, as well as the second one is the implementation of the health protocol, clean health, safety, environment protocol. And then the last one will be marketing program for market recovery. So yesterday we had have the number already across 100,000, but if we see from the data that the good things is the recover number is getting increasing. So this is the thing that we like to show that how serious the government of Indonesia as well as the community to handle with the pandemic. Next slide, please. This is talking about the update of COVID-19 in Bali, because Bali, as for India market, is the main gate for tourism. And later on, of course, we talk about Batam Bintan, also one of the main gate for India as well. So if we see the data to show that Bali community and the government, regional government, manage with the pandemic quite well. So we hope that Bali is one of the most destination that should be recovered first. Next, please. And this is about Rio Island. Rio Island, of course, we talk about Batam and Bintan. Later on, I believe that Pak Wahab as well as Pak Andy will talk more on those two destinations. So this is to show that how those two destinations are ready with to welcome whenever the time has come. Next, please. So the second one is about implementation of the clean health, safety, environment protocol. So we start preparing the protocol, and then we have done the training, simulation, and as well as the campaign. And now in the implementation of the clean health, safety, environment protocol. We hope that this protocol being in place and implemented in those destinations. Next, please. So this is to show that all the spots that we think are important for the tourism, of course, for accommodation, hotel, and then restaurant, transportations, as well as the tourist attraction. All other facilities that are important including a shopping center and other things that are we expect to implement the CHSE protocol. Next, please. This is to show to you that the hotel service flow from the lobby and then the services and all other things that are in place in hotel and accommodation to show that how they implementing the protocol. Now this is about restaurant. You see that the flow also from the area entering the restaurant as well as up to the other services. Next, please. This is when the Minister of the Tourism and Creative Economy visiting Bali, because Bali is one of the destinations that we expect to recover first. And also to show that Bali is ready to welcome tourists. Right now, we are in the time of the encouraging the domestic tourism first. Next, please. This is again about Bali, and I believe that people in India very much well known of Bali because Bali is the main gate for India tourism. Next, please. This is Jakarta. If we talk about the main gate, of course, the main gate for tourism for Indonesia nationally is from Bali, almost 40%, around 30 or 39%. And then the second one is about 18%. It is from Jakarta. So this is also to show you that how important Jakarta is the second main gate for tourism, and we need to also to make sure that they are all the spot also implementing the CHSE protocol. And this is about Banyuwangi. Banyuwangi is close to Bali, around 1 hour from Bali, located in East Java. This is one of the destinations that are considered ready for the health protocol. So you see from the pictures, they are ready. And this is about Bintan. I believe that Pak Wahab and later on Pak Andy will share more on Bintan as well as Batam, how they are ready to welcome the tourists. And this is about Yogyakarta, because Yogyakarta also considered one of the most visited by Indian tourists also, other than Bali. So we believe that Yogyakarta is also now in time of the implementing of health protocol as well. Next question, please. So the third one, the last one, is for marketing program. So after we had first time cases in early March, so what we do is more for online activity. So we do campaign, communication strategy, and like what we are doing right now, we do market update as well as later on we also do virtual sales mission, virtual B2B, and also B2C if possible. Next, please. So what we are doing and what we have done is we are using hashtag Dream Now and then Travel Tomorrow, and we put in our own website all the spot and also culinary and other also destination to be in our website. Next, please. This is destination we put in our own media. Next, please. Indonesia.travel. And just recently, we also launched for the domestic market. What we do is Indonesia Care, or I Do Care. If you read, this is also communication strategy that we are implementing seriously on the clean health, safety, environment protocol. Next, please. So other than our own media. We are also collaborating with paid media as well as the social media. As you see, we do some cooperation with digital and as well as the electronic media. Next, please. So this is the one of the application to show how serious the government to deal with the pandemic. So this is one of the effort of the government to deal with the pandemic. So integrated system we have prepared. Next. So this is what I have shared earlier, that we have some collaboration with all digital platform that we have. Next, please. So I think that is all that I can share. Pak Sanjay, thank you very much. On behalf of Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, I would like to encourage you to utilize this session, and hopefully you gain something, and we hope for the better condition soon, and then we can expect the recovery of our tourism in the near future. Thank you very much. Sukriya, Pak Sanjay, I return back to you.
Thank you, Pak Sigit. Thank you for your updates, Pa. It is very important during these days of crisis to build the traveler confidence, and your presentation has shown how Indonesia is following the protocols and the safety norms. And I'm sure our viewers, our people who have joined us today would communicate the same to their travelers. It's very important how we are changing with the times, how we are adapting with the new norms and ready for the international traveler to come. Thank you, Pa Sigit. May I now request Pa Ferdy for his more updates on the international matters and more from the government side. Pa Ferdy, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Sanjay, and I should also thank the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy for, of course, I'm quite pleased and honored to be given the opportunity to speak before such a distinguished audience. As you've heard from Pak Sigit, he already mentioned, he already made it quite clear that Indonesia is ready. So what I'm trying to do now is, of course, I'm not the practitioner. My colleagues, Pak Andy Fong and Pak Abdul Wahab, will be the one elaborating the preparedness of the industry. But from my perspective, which is the government's perspective, I would like to infuse some of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs perspective on the tourism in Indonesia. So when we talk about the tourism, you know, at the beginning, Pak Sanjay and also Pak Sigit made it quite clear there's a big elephant in the room. Next slide, which is, of course, COVID-19. So it has influenced all of our life. Two things that come into my mind when you talk about COVID-19. It is unprecedented. It is unthinkable. Even now, I can still barely think about, you know, it's really happening in my lifetime. So that's something. But another perspective that's really need to be seen is the impact of COVID-19. Next slide, please. Which is the global economic slowdown. So I don't have to point it out. I know you, as the tourism industry, you know what impact you are actually facing because of the COVID-19. But just a little bit of to refresh our minds and just to give a bit of understanding of the circumstances. So the economic condition is having a slowdown. The World Bank predicts minus 5.2, which is significant, no growth at all, even minus. And some people say that the major economies, including India, Indonesia, would regain their growth in the fourth quarter, but not significantly. So it is a bleak circumstance if you see it. And next, which is when the COVID, I'm sorry, not next presentation, but another issue that needs to be also understood is the focus of the government. The focus of the government will be mainly towards recovery of economy. And in terms of tourism, government's focus for Indonesia, I can say that it is to cushion the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the industry, to the domestic industry, which is basically the development of domestic tourism, reopening domestic flights and hospitality industry. But we are not foreseeing in a very, very near future, in the 1 or 2 months ahead, outbound or international travel. So that is something I think is also applicable to other governments. Even in Indian governments, the international travel might not be in their consideration at this moment. But of course, our webinar is to anticipate what's next. Next slide, please. Yes, travel restriction. COVID-19 has also brought unprecedented travel restriction, travel bans, as we can see. And just to point out, the Indonesian government, we have suspended all visa. So the facility that Indians can enjoy to come to Indonesia, just come to Indonesia and have their passport stamped, has been suspended. And that's significant for us as well, because it's just saying that we are not accepting any tourists at all. So when will it be lifted? I will elaborate in my presentation further as we go. But for the Indian government as well, you have the lockdown, even though you have the unlock 2.0, the reopening of several activities, but then again, it's still closed. So this is the condition that was caused by the COVID-19. Next. So what I can say, just to summarize, you've got a lot of elements, but I can just summarize it in saying that COVID-19 has its economic repercussions, tourism industry, you yourself, you can witness, you bear witness of the impact of COVID-19. It has created travel restrictions. No foreigners can allow unless it's repatriation flights. And of course, one thing, after the 9/11, we've got layers of security protocol. Now you've got further layers of additional health protocols. And I just made a domestic travel, and I had to be at the airport 3 hours before. So the layers of additional procedures might not disappear just in one go, but they might still be there even after the issue of COVID-19 subsides. So that's going to be, adding an extra burden and cost for the industry as well. And of course, international traveling, everybody has now a changed perspective on that. So that's on COVID-19. Next. I was intrigued with the theme that was given by the organizers. Coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. It's a quote from Henry Ford, of course, a visionary industrialist. But from my perspective, I can say that coming together is the beginning is a common or shared purpose. Keeping together is progress, of course, how to develop a mutual commitment between us, and working together is success, is a shared contribution to achieve success. Next. So coming together, why Indonesia, India? I don't have to point it out to you. You've been in the industry for so long, so you know why Indonesia and India. But just to give a bit of modalities, just to refresh our minds, because the few months we've been working from home with COVID, many of us might forget about the modalities. So next slide. Just a bit of a modalities. Of course, India, Indonesia, we have a shared historical ties, 2 millennia of shared historical ties, and I guess that's quite significant. A lot of culture in Indonesia is influenced by India, so we are intertwined in terms of history. Geographical proximity, of course, that's a very important modality that we have. We are neighbors. We are maritime neighbors, of course, but in terms of proximity, flights, it's not that far from India, India to Indonesia, Indonesia to India. And you have also the modality of economic conditions. We are the two largest economies in respective regions, in the South Asia regions and in the Southeast Asia region. And aside of that, of course, population. Indonesia is the largest population in Southeast Asia, and India, of course, the largest population in South Asia. So, for us, we see the 50 million outbound tourists from India as a very strong market that we should tap. And of course, this year it's not going to be 50 million, but it just shows the potentials that you have in India. And of course, there is a strong interest in multiple tourism destinations in Indonesia because of the shared history. And we can see the tourist arrival from India to Indonesia, 2017, 2019, we have seen quite a bit of an increase, and that's substantial. And one more important from the government perspective, it is the decision of the two leaders, of Prime Minister Modi and President Jokowi. They have agreed to enhance our bilateral cooperation. We have from strategic partnership to comprehensive strategic partnership. So our relations now includes the area of people-to-people contact. So the government is fully supportive to efforts related to increase the people-to-people interaction. Next. So next is keeping together. So keeping together, in my perspective, an easy way just to point it out. First of all, keeping together, connectivity is one important issue. We had a direct flight from Garuda Indonesia previously, but as of yet, we don't have it. So that's how would you keep working together? How would we be able to keep together if there is no direct flight? And this is something that we have to work on. And in Indonesia, tourism infrastructure to fulfill Indian tourist needs still needs to be improved, but a lot has been done by the industry. So we are improving ourselves in terms of identifying the needs of the Indian market. For example, restaurants in Indonesia that might serve Indian foods or vegetarian foods. That's something that we are thinking. And of course, understanding markets, characteristics and needs of Indian tourists. And one thing is, after the COVID-19, what is the characteristic of Indian market? Because there might be some from the government, from the Indonesian government side, because India is now number 3 after US protocol imposed or something else. So that's something very important, the reason why we need to understand the market. And one thing that also keeps us together is the cultural and social activities and the programs that we need to develop. We have to have more and more activities, programs to appeal the Indian market. Of course, in this particular issue, your valuable inputs from the Indian tourism industry is important for us, because we would then be able to better understand how the Indian would react to programs, activities, and that might appeal to them. Next slide, please. So now I go to working together. Of course, working together is how we can achieve success, have more Indians coming to Indonesia from the Indonesian perspective. Of course, I've mentioned connectivity. Connectivity, in my opinion, for tourism, it relates to direct flights, but not limited to direct flights. We can also think about cruise and other ways of connectivity. But in the short term, we need to push for Garuda flights. As you know, Garuda is actually going to fly if I'm not mistaken, it was in April or somewhere around these months. But unfortunately, because of COVID, it was postponed. Hopefully not canceled, but we have to push it. And but at the same time, we have been receiving a lot of request from the Indian side to fly to Indonesia, but the request, the first request came in 2017, but it has never been materialized. Indigo and other airlines have actually requested to be the assigned airlines to Indonesia, but it hasn't been materialized. Maybe from with your help with the tourism industry push, you can definitely give a bit of or at least move the Indian airlines to think about really going to Indonesia. And one thing that is for sure that relates to the direct flights is the air service agreement. We can see that the air service agreement is not adequate. We have been trying to amend it many times, but of course we haven't reached that 80% of load factor between the two sides, and we need to push it so that we would be able to amend it. Secondly is the role of Indonesian embassy and consulate in India. Of course, I am from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but I will soon be joining you all, the tourism industry in India, as the Deputy Ambassador, the Deputy Chief Mission in Indonesian Embassy in New Delhi. So we have been tasked by the government to promote Indonesia. So we have a role. The embassy as well as the consulate has been given a role, a task to discuss with stakeholders to better understand the market. So this is where we could sort of tailor-made the programs and activities. And of course, as I've said, more activities program. We have the MOU on twinning World Heritage between Prambanan and Taj Mahal, and we might be able, with the assistance of course, my colleague from the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Interior Affairs, we can push for more provinces to have cooperation, which in turn would create more activities and more programs. And tourism promotion, exhibitions, expo, FemTrip and others. Of course, this year might be difficult until the end, but we have to at least prepare. In the meantime, we can do tourism promotion activities as we are doing now, the webinar hosted by colleagues from the Ministry of Tourism. This is something at least to fill the gap until we are ready to fly internationally. So I do appreciate all these activities, and we definitely have to sort of push for more. Next slide, please. So now we are coming to sort of the end of my presentation. That's something that maybe colleagues from the travel industry, the tourism industry are thinking of. What's next right after the pandemic? So now the government is actually addressing travel restrictions. We are not entirely opening the market because as we stand, we still impose quite strict health protocols, as well as we haven't actually opened, this is unsuspended the free visa facility. But, you know, all assessment have been made, and we definitely think that this has to be done because with the new normal, with a stringent protocol, we can actually do it. But in the meantime, in the short term, in this like few months ahead, the government of Indonesia is actually exploring to have a travel bubble. We call it the travel bubble. I guess you all know about that, a travel corridor arrangements. It's a very narrow corridor. At this moment, it is aimed at facilitating ease of travel for businesses, employment and economic purposes. Of course, it's very important. But then again, those people, the businessmen, businesswomen, they are also tourists. So of course, we make special arrangements for them. There is strict health protocols, but once they are cleared from your side, and it's already been cleared from our side, they will be able to travel to Indonesia. This travel corridor arrangement, the TCA, is still being developed. I can say that until this moment, it's not being developed with India because it's going to be piloted with a number of other countries. But India will follow suit for sure because we know the importance of India, of course, businesses in India, and also tourists from India. We are going to discuss about that. Our embassy will surely be assessing it, the TCA possibility with India as we go, and hopefully we can have that before we have a full access of international travel. And basically that's the issues that I would like to raise. I hope I enticed some of your thoughts, and I'm expecting a lot of questions. But for this moment, I can just say these are the points I would like to make, and I hope it gives a bit of it sheds a bit of a light to our colleagues from the tourism industry on Indonesia's policy on tourism. So once again, thank you very much, Sukriya. I leave it back to you, Mr. Sanjay.
Thank you, Papa. Thank you, Papa, so much. And it was very good to understand the perspective from government, also mixed reactions from specialists in economy and people giving different kind of reactions. But what we have understood till now from different reactions from people, from specialists, is in Southeast Asia, Indonesia and South Asia, India are very resilient markets, and this pandemic and this crisis, we will emerge out stronger and with better and stronger ties. And also the point, Papa, you touched was of Garuda starting in April, unfortunately delayed, but I'm sure it's not cancelled, but it is postponed. Hope to have Garuda flying soon to India, Indonesia. And also a good point was the participation of Provincial Tourism Board. I know Sigit has been trying to get more people from the Provincial Tourism Board to participate in Indian trade fairs, to expose the new destinations to the Indians traveling to Indonesia. That's a very big point. And Baba, to apprise you, as the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Economy, Sigit is working on doing a virtual travel mart in India. We have some requests, we have some opportunity where we may be participating soon in a travel mart to come together with our travel fraternity in India and showcase them in a bigger way how Indonesia is ready and how we are going to open up post this pandemic. Thank you so much, Baba, for your great inputs. Now, may I request Wahab for more on tourism industry and hospitality, and show us how they're ready to welcome the tourists and the travelers from India, to give them happy moments and great experience once again. The floor is your Pawab.
First and foremost, thank you, Sanjay Bhai, for this session. I also like to thank Pak Sigit, and of course, thank to Tourism Indonesia for inviting Bintan Resort to be part of this this session. Hopefully, after this session, people will understand Bintan much more. But I'm given only like 15 minutes. I try to do all the presentation within the 15 minutes. That will start with presentation, background of Bintan Resort. And after that, I will do protocol and new normal of Bintan Resort. And last but not least, a checklist. After these three presentations, I will then show a presentation, a video on how Bintan Resort is actually ready to open to domestic as well as international market. Sanjay Bhai, thank you. Bintan Resort International, next slide, please. Okay, this is just a little background to give for those who have not been to Bintan before. We are just next door to Singapore, only 45 minutes, or rather 45 to 55 minutes by ferry. And then you can see we have three, what I call airport that we can work with. First, Singapore Changi Airport, and then we will have Tanjung Pinang, which is still within Bintan, and then we have Batam. If you can see the area of northern part of Bintan here. This is 23,000 hectares, which is a free trade zone. This 23,000 hectares, when it is completed, is going to be the biggest resort in the world. Next slide. We started in 1990, but we start operating actually in 1996. As you can see, this is the official opening of Bintan Resort by then the President of Indonesia, Bapak Suharto, as well as the Prime Minister of Singapore. Bintan is being built under the collaboration between Singapore and Indonesia government. Next slide. So this is a milestone. As I mentioned, 1990 we started, but 1996 we start operating. From 1996 up to 2019, we are progressively operations, buildings, and also receiving local as well as international guests. But the question now is in 2020, especially after January, where we are hit by COVID-19, and from there on, our arrival really slide down. Next slide. This to show you, Bintan Resort is a cluster of a gated community. Okay, we only have two areas of arrival. One is by the ferry terminal. This is from Singapore by ferry. We have 300 passenger carrier, and then this is from the locals arrival. If you're arriving from Jakarta, if you're arriving from Surabaya or Medan, you can actually land in Tanjung Pinang or Batam, and then you travel by land to Bintan Resort. Next. Besides the two arrivals, we also have a cruise arrival. Every weekend, we will have one cruise ship actually from Singapore, Dream Cruise, arriving with 4,000 guests. And then another arrival is by Royal Caribbean, which is arriving to Bintan every quarter, which is carry about 5,000. So these two major arrivals that help to improve or increase the arrival to Bintan. Last year, in 2019, we have more than 1.2 million arrival to Bintan. Next slide. These are the hotels within Bintan Resort. We have altogether 15 hotels currently. Next. In total number of rooms, currently we have more than 2,000 rooms, but by 2023, we will have 5,000 more keys, because as we speak now, 4 hotels are now under construction. Next. So these are the operating hotels. I will not elaborate, but you can find this presentation. Should you need this presentation, please write to the organizer, in this case, Tourism Indonesia, or you can write directly to me. I will pass you this presentation for those who need it. Next. Another hotel in Bintan. Next. Beside the hotel, the 2,000 keys, we have 4 golf courses. All the golf courses actually, we call it a signature golf courses, where you can actually organize a competition, international competition. Next. Beside golf, we also have a yearly event, which is being organized since 15 years ago. We have Tour de Bintan, actually bicycle race, which originated from France. We have Ironman originated from America. We have Bintan Triathlon. We have Marathon. We have so many other, what we call here, mass sport participation. Next. Besides sport, we also have people where we can pamper you with all these 9 well-known spas. Next. Next slide. Can I have the next slide? Besides spas, there's a lot of attraction. This is just within Bintan Resort, within the 23,000 hectares of land that we are talking. If you're familiar with Singapore, if you're familiar with Sentosa, we are 20 times bigger than Sentosa. So this is among the area where you can actually find an attraction within Bintan Resort. Next. Water sport, we have all range of water sport. Next. Another water sport. Next. Fun for kids, including turtle release, that every year between March to November, we will release a turtle in our beach. just for info, we're having the longest beach in the world, which is 105 kilometers, where we actually salvage and preserve the turtle that coming to a shore, and then part of the education program for the kids. Next. When we talk about culinary, we have all sort of food, from Indonesian food, we have Chinese food, we also have Indian food. To be precise, we have 2 good Indian restaurants over in Bintan. I would actually like to invite you, if you are in Bintan, please do contact us. I show you these 2 places where we organize a lot of events, including wedding and MICE activities. Next. So this is among the corporate event that we organize. Actually, we organize big event, big corporate event, pharmaceuticals event in Bintan. And you can see this is one of the largest wedding, we call it Bollywood wedding, held in Bintan, where the whole wedding were organized within 6 nights, which is actually 7 days. So it is a long, but we have executed it very well. Next. So just now I mentioned about the operating hotel, but now we are also building a few more hotels. So you can see here we are building more education, we are building more golf course. We are also building education hub where we can talk to you. And also we are building another resort called Capri Bay, which is 5 times bigger than Sentosa. Next. So the second part of my what I call presentation is to talk about our preparation in the new normal. Next. We have launched actually what we call Bintan Resort Cares, which is ensure that all the safety protocol are being monitored, even when you coming into our ferry. And we have 4 ferries. All these ferries actually belong to our company that arrived from Singapore. All the protocol are already been instituted in this ferry, as you can see in the picture. Next. This is also another protocol, which is from our land entry point, as you can see. Next. All protocol at our attraction, we have numbers of attraction. Among those who are actually mangrove, which is widely visited. More than 300,000 guests actually visited our mangrove, where you can be in the nature and you can see a lot of wild animal within our mangrove. Next. So we also own a safari lagoy. As you can see, all the new normals protocol are already been instituted, even though we do not have guests now, but we are ready. Next. Shopping center, same. Next. And also a public area. We have a food court, a food center, places where you can actually enjoy with your family, with all the physical distancings and regular cleanings, all being instituted or being done at this point of time, and also in preparation for the new normal. Next. Another public area, as you can see, in the past, you can take a look about the jet ski. In the past, you can ride 2 persons, but now, because of the protocol, we only allow 1. And you can see people are actually queuing up, and also a physical distancing at all the shop that within our resort area. Next. These are the quarantine procedure. Our resort also prepare more than 70 rooms, okay, in preparation for any emergencies for people to be on isolation, should there be any. But up to date, these are hardly used. Next. This to show you where is and how we manage the isolation, left wing and right wings. The left wing is a lesser case. I mean, the case is not so heavy. The right wing is actually for slightly heavier cases, but all monitored by the quarantine as well as the doctor. Next. This is another procedure just to show you the site. Upon arrival, if you found to be unhealthy, you will be put into this area where you will be checked by the doctor and so on. Next. Next slide. Can I have next slide? Okay, this is to show you beside the isolation room that provided by the master developer, which is Bintan Resort, each hotel, the 15 hotels that we have with us, are also having their own isolation room. This is for the purpose of emergency that relates to our guests. Next. Beside that, we also have protocol, which is electronic handbook. Upon arrival to Bintan Resort, your phone will be beeping to inform you the daily status of COVID-19 within our resort. And for that matter, also within Riau Island. Next. Next slide. So beside that, we also having put in place in our resort area, what we call electronic contact tracing. We feel this is among the important roles that we have, that we want to ensure that all guests that coming to Bintan Resort, should there be anything happen, they can be contactable, okay, via an application that we actually put in the telephone. Next. We also set up a protocol electronic for handbook for all our staff. This can be adjusted on daily basis so that the staff are aware what is happening within Bintan Resort and what do they need to do in time of crisis. Next. Next. This is just to give you an update about the statistic of COVID-19 within Kepulauan Riau or Riau Islands province. The whole of Riau Island actually is only 293 cases. You can see Batam, Galang, and then you take a look about the ends of the presentation, Bintan Resort. Up to date, Bintan Resort still do not have any case of COVID-19. As I mentioned, that the protocol that we instituted in Bintan are rather very strict. Next. This is just to show you the next slide. The next presentation will show you the roadmap. We are working together with all the resort in Bintan. We are working with Riau Islands COVID-19 task force. We are working with the Indonesian government. We continue to engage and work with our travel agents and as well as working with event organizer, even though with the COVID-19, which is still prevailing now. But here we are preparing and we still continue to engage and talk to our what I call the cruise liner. Actually, the cruise liner are ready to come to Bintan once Bintan is open the door for international arrival. Next. So these are the testimony among the people that the practitioner, as what they mentioned, the government's representative. These are the representative of the travel agent in Singapore. All of them says that Bintan are actually ready to open. Next. Bintan Resort, we also have our own task force. As I mentioned again, this task force purely looking into the daily update and daily prevention of COVID-19. Next. When we talk about roadmap, what we are thinking, we have been talking to the government, we want to open domestic first. After we open domestic, which is next. We also open domestic, which is the other provinces in Indonesia, the earlier one, within Kepulauan Riau province. Now with the whole of Indonesia. The third one, next. The third one, then we are thinking about to open to international market. Of course, currently we feel that Singapore or Malaysia would be the nearest neighbor. We are cross-border, so this is the easiest. Then after that, we will open the whole of Southeast Asia. Then we will open Asia Pacific, including India and the rest of the world. Next. So this is a roadmap of market segment. Under the advice of the COVID-19 protocol, we will start with smaller group, a family of not more than 5. Then we start with people travel to Bintan, couple, honeymooners, and people who come here for individual sport. After this all being monitored and okay, then we will open to the GIT. After GIT, we will think of opening a corporate or MICE, and then sport, and last but not least, a cruise liner. Next. So the question now, this is a $1 million question. When is it open? Yeah, I think Pak Ferdy have actually indicated earlier. So we are waiting for the good sign or signal from the government for Bintan, or rather for the cross-border to open. Then we can move on with our economic again. Next. So this is a checklist. Of course, we wanted to do a checklist on our employee first to ensure that our employee are okay before we open the resort. Next. The second checklist on the tourists. So every tourist will follow the protocol. I think I'm not going to elaborate the requirement of wearing masks, body check. These are all are becoming known to become a new normal very soon. Next. We also do a checklist on our public area, which I explained earlier. Next. We do checklists on resort and hotel to ensure that they are ready to open. Next. Also, we will do on a checklist on our food and beverage to ensure that all the protocol are being followed in accordance to the advice of the National Protocol of Republic of Indonesia. You can see all the staff wearing masks, and the distance of sitting are being instituted in all our restaurants. Next. Even the transportation, as you can see, that transportation is only allow up to 50% of the original seating capacity. Next. Beside that, another attraction, you can see, all the attractions are all follow the protocol. As you can see, people are distancing themselves, even in the boat. Next. So to ensure that everything is okay, we also have an emergency contact line. We are 24/7 and 24 hours a day that we are on duty. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a COVID-19 task force. And beside that, people like us, even like myself, are contactable 24 hours for any emergency. The next slide, the next presentation should be on the video on our new protocol. Sanjay-san, Sanjay Bhai, thank you very much. Can I have the video now?
After months of fighting against the COVID-19 infections with various measures and protocols, things are starting to improve. But we must not let our guard down. Our practices must change and adapt to the new normal in order to prevent new cases and break the chains of the virus. To maintain general cleanliness and safety, every individual within Bintan Resort area is required to wash hands frequently, minimize direct contact with other people, avoid crowded places, and wear masks while outside. Regular cleaning and disinfections have also been conducted in the public area, as well as the grading system for our food tenants within Bintan Resort area. All these practices will become the new norms of our daily routines in accordance with the recommendations from the local government and the WHO. This new normal will be supervised and evaluated by the Bintan Resort COVID-19 Task Force, who dedicate themselves to make sure the implementations of these new protocols and norms will be done appropriately. As a guest, you will experience the new normal even before getting to Bintan. A body temperature check will be conducted before the guests board the ferry. Bintan Resort ferries will also only accommodate half the amount of normal full capacity for each ferry, with the seat arranged accordingly to make sure the guests can practice physical distancing even during their trip to Bintan. Arriving at Bintan Island, various safety measures will be conducted, including body temperature checking, physical distancing at the queue lines and seats, and disinfections. Our personnel will also follow a strict protocol regarding self-hygiene and physical contact to ensure the safety and health of every guest without hindering their comfort and overall experience. Every vehicle used to carry guests or staff from point to point within Bintan Resort will also implement a certain rule to emphasize the importance of physical distancing, including seating arrangement and interaction protocol to make sure that every guest arrives at their destination safe and sound.
All our associates stayed up to date on the changes in travel restrictions and health measures in order to assist our guests better. We continue to monitor the situation on a daily basis. We provide flexible cancellation and postponements to assure guests and build their confidence during this period. We allocate villas that are close to the lobby, followed by the ones near the restaurants so that guests can still easily access the key areas. There is sufficient distance between each villa at Panyantri so guests can still enjoy our resort with a peace of mind. All dining outlets are limited to a maximum reduced number of diners to guarantee physical distancing. Wherever possible, tables are assigned in open spaces and apart from other occupied tables. All recreation activities are limited to a maximum number of participants to guarantee physical distancing. Recreation equipments are disinfected before and after each use. Sunbeds at our swimming pools and beach areas are set 2 meters apart from each other. Our associates keeps watch to ensure that guests are at least 1.5 to 2 meters apart from each other in the pool.
We have been promoting Bintan Island as an extended destination from Singapore to our overseas clients across the world. The level of service they render are equal to Singapore's standard. We can always count on them to make sure our guests' safety and well-being. Our guests always return with a big smile. We trust Bintan Resort is ready for post-COVID-19. Wonderful Indonesia.
Kawasan wisata Lagoy kita harapkan menjadi sebuah pilot project, menjadi sebuah role model bagaimana pelayanan terhadap wisatawan di era new normal bisa dilakukan dengan baik. Inilah momentum untuk kita membangkitkan kembali rasa percaya diri dan menggairahkan kembali sektor pariwisata di Kepulauan Riau khususnya dan di Indonesia pada umumnya.
Kami atas nama pemerintah daerah memberikan apresiasi karena Lagoy menerapkan protokol kesehatan dalam rangka menghadapi COVID-19 yang menjadi wabah pada saat ini. Tentunya harapan kami ke depan bahwa kawasan Lagoy akan bertambah maju dalam rangka terus menghadirkan turis-turis mancanegara dalam rangka menopang perekonomian yang ada di Kabupaten Bintan pada khususnya, Provinsi Kepri dan Indonesia pada umumnya.
In preparation for post-COVID-19 and the new normal, Bintan Resort has adjusted our paradigm and introduced Bintan Resort Cares, a message that we care on cleanliness, we care on safety, and we care on health of our guests and our staff. With the support from the head of Regency, in this case Bupati Bintan, and taking the advice from the central government as well as WHO, Bintan Resort now is ready to open and ready to welcome and to serve our guests
during the post-COVID-19. Bintan Resort cares, and we hope to see you real soon.
Thank you, Wahab. That was very interesting, a perspective from the hospitality partner, how the resort is ready to open up, and in today's demand, the time, the need of the hour, we are following all the protocols, and also physical distancing. I think the landmass and available space with you, the golf courses and the mangroves, everything is so beautiful, and by default you have physical distancing, so people are going to explore places where there is lesser crowd, open spaces. It's safer to be in the open. So I think that's great. And also it was good to know that world's largest resort would be opening up soon in Bintan, and the sheer size, 20 times the size of Sentosa. Wow, that's great. I'm sure a lot of Indians would be waiting to come and travel to this part of Indonesia, which is closer to Singapore, where you need only one flight, and then you hop onto a ferry and be in the islands. So that's great. Wahab, thank you so much for the presentation and the update. Really appreciate that, and happy to know that the destination is ready for the tourists and Indian travelers, and the Indian restaurants. You have so much. You have adventure, you have wellness, you have family leisure activities. So I'm sure once the pandemic is over, the international borders open up, Indians would be raring to get onto the flight and come to Bintan Resorts. Thank you so much, Pa. Our next speaker is Mr. Andy, and Mr. Andy, over to you. The floor is yours for more interesting updates on Batam Islands, another beautiful place to visit for Indians. Thank you, Pa.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay, and thank you, Mr. Sigit from the Ministry of Tourism for inviting me for today, joining the for the Indian market promotion here. And okay, hi everyone out there. I think I've seen here about 106 participants. Glad to see all of you. And we are in Batam Island, Indonesia. Just let me give you a run brief before I start the presentation. I'd just like to run through a quick video clips for you all to see that we have implemented those protocols, and among us that are here, the health protocol, safety protocol is a must. So this is what we have done, yeah? And we are practicing this. So let's play the video first. Yeah.
Welcome to Paradise Island, Nongsa, Batam, Indonesia.
We would like to share with you our new normal protocol for your safety, enjoyment, and comfort during your stay in any of our property in Nongsa, Batam. We are truly commit and ensure strict protocol for new norm in all of our property.
Somehow, this is a brown, the skies Arctic and green. All of these things make me feel so down, and think about finding my own place. There's a we can toss a tree, there's a we can share some weed, there's a little bullshit. Everybody can come. Welcome to my paradise, where the sky so blue, where the sun shines so bright. Welcome to my paradise, where you can be free, where the party never ends. The skies are thick and gray. All of these things make me feel so down and think about finding my own place. There's a week at dozen dreams. There's a week at some way. There's a bit of bullshit and everybody can come. Welcome to my paradise, where the sky's so blue, where the sun shines so bright. Welcome to my paradise, where you can be free, where the party never ending. Welcome to my paradise, where the sky's so blue, where the sun shines so bright. Welcome to my paradise, where you can be free, where the party never ends.
Wonderful Nusa Sensation, wonderful Indonesia.
Okay, so that is a quick video to show that the entire area of Nongsa Sensation. I'll come to that on the Nongsa area. I give you a run brief about Batam. Okay, can I have the slide of Batam Island? Okay, Batam Island, as you know, is covering about 715 kilometers square. The island is basically almost the same size with Singapore, the area, okay? And it's only 20 kilometers away from Singapore, and we are that near. From the tip of the north part of the island of Batam Island, we can see Singapore skyline very clearly, and Marina Bay Sands is always standing there. We can see it's only 35 kilometers away. And for ferry ride coming into the island, it's just only about 35 minutes. The shortest route is between Tanah Merah, Singapore to Nongsa. It's only 35 minutes. And the other ports take about 45 minutes to an hour coming into the island. Okay, for population-wise, in Batam Island is about 1.2 million population only, comparing the size like a Singapore. And tourist arrival has been very encouraging over the last 5 years. It was recorded 2017 already 1.5 million tourist arrival, and gradually is 2018 1.8, and 2019 was hitting above 2 million tourist arrival. The growth is so tremendous. Okay, and Batam Island was considered the third largest arrival for Indonesia after Bali and Jakarta. Okay, and basically the tourist base comprises of Singaporean, of course, expat Singaporean, people are working in Singapore, and 12% that will comprise of 58% Singaporean expats. 12% will be from Malaysia, and the rest is like Korea, China, and India. India has been picking up lately for the last 4 or 5 years ago until early this year. Indian market has been climbed up to number 4 and number 5 positions arrival for Batam Island. Okay, and the economy for Batam is, of course, it was oil and gas before, and it was slowed down 3 years ago, and shipbuildings, electronics industry, these are the major industry, and the new one coming up now is the digital park, which is also in Nongsa. Digital park is for IT business, and aerospace, that is maintenance, and the airport is just only 15 minutes from Nongsa. Okay, there are 5 ports receiving from Singapore and Malaysia. We have 5 ports here. Then all the ferry coming in from Singapore is our main gateway. Singapore is our main gateway. And number 2 is from Malaysia, also through ferry. It's about 2 hours ferry ride from Malaysia, Johor Bahru, coming to Batam Island. And for flight internationally, we only have so far from Kuala Lumpur, direct to Batam Island. And the rest are all from Jakarta, mostly for international is connecting through Jakarta, coming to Batam. That will be about an hour and a half traveling from Jakarta. So these are the few ideas of how you travel to Batam. It's not too difficult. Actually, Singapore will be a good stop over. And we believe Singapore is the nearest to us, and that will be a good joint connecting that between Singapore and Batam. We can, because it's so close, we can look into how we can rope in that you can enjoy in Singapore as well as you can come over to Batam Island. All right. So for iconic landmark in Batam, we are a city here. Okay, and of course we are an island. And iconic landmark is just like religious tourism. We have the largest Buddhist temple in Southeast Asia. We have the Masjid Agong II, that is called Sultan Mahmud Riyad Shah. It's covering about 5 hectares of land, and the buildings is a new mosque has been built, and it was opened last year. This is a new mosque, a new attractions. And of course, there are others like Hindu temples. There are 1 or 2 Hindu temples here. And other landmark is like the Barelang Bridge that link up with the other 6 islands. Mangrove is a big covering here, mangrove, because the whole island is basically covered by mangrove. And mangrove is one of the attractions. Of course, you have the old village. Kampung Tua, we call it the old village, is a traditional village, and the Malay, the Melayu or the Malay culture is strongly here because it was a Malay culture that lives in this island. So we promote very much on the Malay culture. So those who want to have a understanding of the Malay culture and to feel and to see and to sample the food, I think Nongsa and Batam is a good place for you to think of, to come by. Of course, Batam Island comprises of 7 golf courses. Okay, we have the largest 7 golf courses in one island here. Okay, and we have a marina club, yacht club, and cycling is one of the interesting event here because of the road. The infrastructure in Batam is fantastic. It's one of the best, I would say, the best infrastructure here. Is one of the best. It's wide road. The road is big, and the local government concentrating building the infrastructure very much over the last 5 years. So the airport actually has the longest runway. For those of you have understand, we are very proud of that, and it has been named Hang Nadim Airport. It has the longest airstrip, and now they are going into aerospace business, maintenance, airplane. You know, so these are the new venture business coming in. So with that, hopefully things will change. For better for the island. Okay. Okay. Next, we actually have just implemented. We in Nongsa have been appointed as a new normal destination to open up, just like in Bintan, and if I'm not wrong, in Nusa Jaya in Bali. So Nongsa, we have prepared ourselves, and we have signed an MOU with the local authority. We are like a semi-cluster because very interesting here, because Nongsa Sensation is an area go green. We are zero COVID, no cases here before. Since the last 5 to 6 months until today, there is 0 cases. So now we are opening up as the first resort to open up for the business. We are now receiving domestic tourists for the locals, for the domestics. We have the kind of like semi-cluster, meaning is we have the 4 old traditional village living here because we have the local community living in this resort area. In between there are 4, and together with the resorts, all the resort here. So it's a very interesting destination. Okay, so Nong Sa, let me brief you a bit about Nong Sa. Now let's go into Nong Sa sensation. We are actually located right on the top tip northeast of the island. Okay, and Nong Sa comprises of ferry terminal, which serve from Singapore to Nong Sa. Actually, it's only 35 minutes ferry ride, very close. We are the closest among the rest of the area. And we have 4 resorts residing here, which you can see, Turi Beach, Nong Sa Point, Montego, and Batam Beach Resort. That's where I'm operating this resort. Okay, and 4 of the resort here, we are ready. Yeah, actually all the protocol that we have done all our part. 3 golf courses, Palm Spring Golf Resort, that is Palm Spring Golf, have 27 holes, the largest in the island and the oldest in the island. Tamarin Golf is a 6-hole golf club, and that was built by the Jack Nicklaus. Yeah, it's a Jack Nicklaus course. It's a very challenging course. And Tering Bay Golf Resort course is 18 holes. That is the Great Norman course. Okay, so these are the 3 golf courses is within the Nong Sa area. It's just only 10 minutes drive around the Nong Sa, yeah, between the resort and the golf resorts. Okay, let's go on. Okay, this is Batam Beach Resort. We are now doing some upgrading at this moment. We are already completed our rooms renovations, and there are a lot of development. Since this is a slowdown period, we are going into major renovations, and that will be complete by this year. Okay, and there are several resorts around us, like Turi Beach, Nong Sa Point, Montego. Okay, together that this is the resort that you can see. We are the best because we are located on the north tip. We can see both islands, Singapore, and we can overlook Malaysia, and we can see the sunrise and we can see the sunset. This is the best point at the Nong Sa area. And of course, when it comes to dining, there are many dining that are available in this area. Seaside dining, seafood dining, Kelong restaurants serve. There are plenty of choice of culinary around this area. And just to let you know, Batam is very popular for the seafood culinary. Yeah? So we get live seafood every day from the sea, from the fishermen, and we serve live seafood, and that is always the interest of the people who come. Tourists mostly come here for seafood. Okay, all right. So let's go on. These are a few dining venues available, and for night activities in Nong Sa area itself, we have many interesting destinations for night activity, like Tigo Bar, our Islander Lounge. We have the live band, 5-piece band. Just now, if you hear the first music that they play, the Welcome Paradise, actually is played by the Gabe band. It's our local band here who play the song. It's quite interesting, right? And the Yacht Club is a beautiful scenery there, and there are Samudra Bar. So there are quite interesting night activity around this Nong Sa area. And for sea sport, of course, here we have all range of sea sport, as I can tell you. We have jet ski, right, from banana boat, paddle boat, and so on. We have all kinds of range of sea sport because we are covering by the ocean. all the resort here sitting all facing the oceans. So we all have our own private beach, and that can be enjoyed by our guests. And land sport activity is another interesting activity that can be done here. And paintball will be very interesting. Paintball we always do for events. And cycling has been a couple of times we have big events on cycling along the Nongsa area, cycling events. And of course, there are plenty more sports events like golf. Golf is actually one of the major activity for daily games and also for yearly events. So these are a few events that we are putting up, even though this slowdown period, but we have the domestic and the expats are participating. So the next one coming up will be the Independence Day. We call it Independence Day Festival, Festa Raya. So here we jointly do with the Batam Tourism Promotional Board to celebrate the Independence Day for Indonesia. So this is something that we do together. And Nongsa Cup is our golf event yearly. This is our 14th Nongsa Cup, but this year, hopefully the border of Singapore and Malaysia open by then. If it's not, then we will still carry out, but it's only domestic golfers. So this is the few events that we still kick off, though it's a slow time. And just to share, these are the few past events that we have done. Golf event, we have done a lot of golf events, and entertainment events like Zumba dance, group Zumba, big events, Zumba group activity, salsa convention. You know, we have done a lot of good big international events in this area. Okay. This is something new that is going to take place. Actually, it's supposed to kick off in last February, but however, the COVID hit us, so this was put on hold. Actually, we are ready. So there will be a fun cruise charter, a daily cruise along Nongsa area. The port Nongsa Pura will be the pickup point. 3 hours cruise to it's a fun cruise. Swim, lunch. Then Pulau Putri, go to the nearest island for pinnacling, diving, snorkeling, and back again. And in the evening, we have the sunset cruise. So we will do the sunset cruise in the evening. It's a 2 hours cruise. Cruise along the north between the Singapore Channel, between Singapore and Batam, so that you can see the sunset for 2 hours and back again. So these are the new interesting adventure that we are putting up. Hopefully with that, when the door opens, these are the business that we can collaborate together. So these are the ferry that ferry our tourists between Singapore and Nongsa and also Batam. Batam Fast is one of our partners. Okay. Okay, go on. So these are the new practice for normal. I don't have to brief, this is already shown. Okay, let's go on. Now everyone very worried about protocol safety and all that. I think we have already shown enough. I think the government also put a lot of effort for us to make sure that we apply and we practice the new normal safety. And that is all going throughout the whole island. Well, I think we are ready for receiving. Now what we want is the, of course, if you all need any more information about this Nongsa area and our Nongsa destinations, you can always write to me directly, and also can go to the Ministry of Tourism. We will be very happy to share more information, and we look forward for more collaboration, how the new norm is going to take place that how are you going to participate and also collaborate with us to make opportunity that we can do our business. I believe it's a medium-sized mines market will be a good move. Medium-sized traveling or family business, that will be interesting for us to work on. Indian market is a very great market. It's a big market, huge, coming to Singapore, and we can just swing them over to Batam Island. I think that will be interesting. Okay, for food-wise, I can also add on. There are few restaurants actually operated by Indian from Kalera, my friend from Kalera. They operate the Indian restaurant in this island. There are two big restaurants here, Matabaha and Maharaja. It's a two big restaurant catering Indian cuisine. Yeah? So that should not be a problem for us to suit the culinary for the Indian. I know they are very particular on the food, but we are ready. Okay, so I think that's a quick brief from me, and if any that you need any more further information, please direct to us, and I will be very happy to reply. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sanjay.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much for the great insight into the destination and the beautiful locations for Indians to enjoy when they start holidaying again. And thank you very much for your time. To all our participants, apologies, we have overrun our time, but thank you for being with us till now. We have a short poll now going on to understand from you what are your requirements, what are you looking at. So we will start a poll. There are 3 questions and various options to that poll. So our first question is, what is the most important factor for Indonesia tourism industries to consider in welcoming back the visitors? Is it new normal packages, limiting visitor number to at the tourist destinations, implementation of the safety and health protocols, pre-sales and giving discounts, information updates on border, visa, and requirements of travel from time to time? That would be the update for the traveler. The question 2 is, what is your company doing in order to sustain the business in this pandemic period? Is it explore business opportunity with your business partners, promotion and online media or through social media, or you're enhancing information knowledge by attending webinars and discussion forums online like one we are having today? Third question is, when are you ready to do a virtual B2B sellers and buyers? Like, when are you ready to offer your packages, offer your take bookings for your clients? Is it July, September, October to December quarter, or looking at Jan to March, or beyond March next year? So we look forward, and the poll is open for you to give your suggestions. Wow, so we have the result. New normal packages, that's for the first question. Answer is 3% say new normal packages, about 3% also say limiting visitor numbers, business tourist destinations. So the biggest, I think, need of the hour is implementation of safety and health protocols. That is understandable. In these trying times, we want our travelers to be safe. We want everybody to have a good experience with safe surroundings. For our second question, we have 7% for pre-sales and giving discounts. We have about 34% for information updates for border, visa, and requirements of, sorry, I'm looking at the first one. For the second, we have 24% people have said explore business opportunities with your business partners. About 45% says promotion by online media and social platforms. So that is interesting to know that the presence on social media and online platforms has been very strong. And also about 31% say they've been enhancing their knowledge, their information on different products and destinations through online discussion platforms and webinars. Third question is, when are you ready to do for sales in reality? What should be the real timelines we should be looking at? So 34% people have said July to September. Probably yes, people are waiting to travel. They would start traveling, be it domestic first and then international. And October to December is looking very promising, where we have about more than 40% of the people saying that is the period when the maximum travel should begin for even international once the borders are open. Thank you so much for your time and taking time for this poll. And we have now the floor open for question and answer. I know there's very little time for us to do that. I have a few questions. May I take the question? Ferdy, the question from Pa Susram, one of the industry partners in Indonesia. He says Bali will be open for international tourists mid of September. However, there has been no update of the entry visa facility for foreigners traveling to Indonesia. So he wants to know, will there be any help by our Indonesian embassy in Delhi or the consulate in Mumbai to issue Indonesia visa for those Indians wishing to travel to Indonesia? Or how else would be the process of visa application be applied? For you.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. It is, some of my colleagues have called it a million or even billion-dollar question, because even at this precise moment, I wouldn't be able to say whether we are going to really open it in 1 month's time, in 2 months' time, but it's still being evaluated. That is actually for the reason why we are now implementing travel corridors, which actually enables us to control the travelers, as well as implement stringent health protocols. And also when they arrive, they would go to specific destination in Indonesia. So it is based on mutual trust. That is the reason why the visa is not only a visa, but it's like the whole package. So this is still being discussed, and we have a number of countries lining up, some in South East Asia, some in East Asia, but of course South Asia has not been included. We are thinking to introduce India as part of the scheme, but it's still being evaluated. As for the question whether it's going to be facilitated by the embassy, because the suspension of the free visa facility is there, so we wouldn't be able to, even the embassy or the consulate wouldn't be able to provide special visa unless it's for diplomatic purpose or business purpose, business with specific or targeted schedule or destination, and also some other purposes. But for tourism purposes per se, it wouldn't be possible. If you ask me whether we are going to have it in September or October, but then again, it's just 2 months from now, and the travel corridor is now being in the implementation stage. It's going to be implemented. So let's see how the TCA is going to be, whether it's going to be successful, because we definitely don't want to create some difficulties for the travelers to Indonesia, because we now have identified the red zones, green zones, and all the zones, and as my colleagues from the industry pointed out, they are the green zones. So let's see how it goes. But I would be saying that from our perspective, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I guess my colleague Pak Sigit will concur, and his ministry is also pushing it hard. We will be thinking about the industry, the tourism industry in Indonesia. So sooner or later, it will be opened, bearing in mind of the this sheer number of employees that the tourism industry has. So it will be opened. I will be monitoring it closely, because I will be leaving to India very soon, and I will make sure that at least if the TCA second stage is going to be implemented, I will make sure that India is one of them. So not only for business, but business plus, so business and also leisure. So that would make my colleague Pak Sigit, Pak Andy, and Pak Abdul Wahab very happy. So that's my a bit vague answer, but at this moment it's difficult. In the implementation stage and next implementation stage, it might be opened directly, or the suspension will be lifted. We don't know, but at this precise moment, it's still being evaluated. Thank you, Sanjay ji.
So much, Ferdy. That's interesting to know. Yes, India is on the priority list. We are very happy to know that, and we are waiting to welcome you in India soon, Pa. Pa Sigit, would you like to elaborate more on this from the Ministry of Tourism perspective on the opening up, Baba?
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Sanjay. Thank you very much, Pak Ferdy, Pak Wahab, as well as Pak Andy. Yeah, I just would like to add a few only, because I am sure that now India market is on the right hand. You have Pak Ferdy, yeah, is going to leave for India very soon. So this is very good, yeah, as he already giving us a promise, yeah, a promise to us, yeah. This is a very good point, and I believe if you talk about the opening of the border destination, I think the sooner is the better. But before that comes, Sanjay and others, we need to ensure that implementation of the clean health, safety, and environment protocol being really in place. That is for sure, but that is for sure. And because health is number one, and then of course other purposes, economic, I think will follow accordingly. I think that is from us. Thank you very much, Pak Sanjay, Pak Ferdy. Congratulations, yeah, for your appointments very soon, Pak. And then Pak Wahab as well as Pak Andy, on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, we thank you very much. Thank you, Pak. Shukriya.
Thank you so much. I think I can take a quick question. It's posted for Pak Wahab. Our industry partners from India would like to know, Bintan is more of a property oriented holiday destination. So would you be introducing all-inclusive packages, Pak Wahab? A quick one on that, please. Is Pak Wahab there? Can Pak Wahab hear me?
Okay.
Okay, so probably we'll get back to our partners on this. We'll have more information. And I would like to now thank all our panelists. Thank you so much for all your time, for being with us and giving us a very valuable inputs and the perspective from the government and from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and also our industry partners, the hospitality partners, on showcasing how the destination is ready and waiting to welcome tourists from India. Thank you all the participants. We have extended our time limit. Thank you for being with us for an additional 40 minutes. That we really, really appreciate that time from you. And I hope this session has been informative. We will share the recording for all our partners who've been unable to join us for any reason. And we will be in touch. Please share with us any thoughts you may have, and we can put across to our partners, our panelists today who have been on the panel, and get you the answers. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, the organizer. Thank you, Pa Sigit, Pa Ferdy, Pa Andy, Pa Wahab from the development of Bintan. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for today's session.
Bali